The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And this is episode 195.
195.
What are we talking about today?
This is Earth is Our School.
Ain't that for sure.
It really is. Yes.
Cool. Good topic.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Before we do it, though, anything you want to talk about from last week?
Yeah, so last week we did Healing Through Shadow Work.
Mm-hmm.
And Brittany sent this. She said, finally had time to listen to your podcast while driving to and from an appointment today. All week, it just hadn't worked out where I had time to listen, so today I did, and oh boy, did the shadow work topic hit me like a ton of bricks that I've been avoiding. Not only have two of my spiritual soul sisters told me I'm due for some shadow work, my tarot cards and other synchronicities have suggested or implied so. The truth is, I never really have known where to begin with this, and I know it's going to be muddy and mucky and uncomfortable, so it was easy to not search out how to do shadow work. So thank you for making it super easy, like a shadow work for dummies tutorial. I feel good about some introspection until the universe decided to use my 13-year-old daughter and all of her hormones and sass and ridiculous argument skills to really test my gangster. I mean, dedication to analyzing my triggers and responses and attributing childhood trauma. Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty yuck, and I'm realizing that ignorance is bliss phase is over regarding this topic. Here's to healing my own inner child while trying not to screw up my own kids, especially my super emotional teenage June-born Cancer. Hey, I'm a June-born Cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are very super emotional,
Yeah.
and we understand what you're going through too, because teenagers
Yeah.
can be really, really tough.
Isn't that funny, though? You know, how that's all wrapped in this, like, chain link lessons, because we get it from our parents and then we give it to our kids, and then,
Yep.
you know, so it's just like a never ending.
It absolutely is. And the shadow work is important when we have kids because it helps us to not pass on those things that we learn from our parents to our kids and repeat the same patterns and cycles. So, yeah very important. So thank you for that, Brittany. Glad that
was
the
cool. Thank you.
episode resonated. And really, that's what I try to do is like, when I learn things, when I go online and like research or whatever, I want it to be simple. I don't want to have to like look words up in the dictionary or, you know, I don't
Right.
want it to be a big complicated thing. I like that she said that about the, you know, the spirituality for dummies. I love it. It's perfect. So I'm glad that that's what you got from it. 'Cause
I like a much simpler approach myself.
simple is easy.
Yeah.
That's why it's simple. Simple. Anyways, so thank you, Brittany,
you.
for that. And then every week we answer two questions. This week, the first question is from Sunshine. Sunshine and I were talking about an issue that she's having with wanting to learn about her spirit guides. And she sent me a video of Dolores Cannon, and the video was about spirit guides and how you always have one, and sometimes they're your family and whatever. But at the very end of the video, it says that our spirit guides are not allowed to intervene in our lives. Right. And so she wanted to know, are they? What does that mean? You know, so that's what we're going to answer. Are spirit guides and family members on the other side allowed to intervene in our lives? I think that there's a lot of ways you could define intervene.
Yeah, that's I've got depending on what we're talking about,
Right.
I guess.
Like I love Dolores Cannon, and I believe 99% of what she says, but I think sometimes there's things that are taken out of context. I know sometimes that like things might come out of my mouth that aren't exactly like what I meant to say, and so maybe but anyways, that word it could mean a lot of things. So first of all, I think that they can't intervene in, like, they can't change the course of our lives. But,
no, because you had a contract coming into it, an understanding and agreement. So if I can get maybe a little bit dark for a second, like, let's say your contract was, I'm supposed to die in my car by getting stuck on railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah.
That's the contract.
Yes.
They can't come in and reroute the train tracks or like be like Superman and stand in the way and stop it from happening. As tragic as it is,
Yep.
I think it's still part of the contract.
Yes, that's exactly right. Or like on the flip side, and I had given you this example a few days ago, is that Marina was in a car accident and she needed to be in the car accident for whatever reason. It's not our lives, not our lessons, so we don't really know why. But they protected her. It was a bad accident and she was protected. She walked away. So did her two friends that were in the car.
Yeah.
So in that way, I do believe that they can intervene in certain ways. Like if the accident wasn't supposed to happen, they would put things in your path to make it not happen. That's why, like, when there's a slow car in front of us or somebody cuts us off or whatever, I don't get mad anymore because I know that that person might be slowing me down for a situation that I could possibly they could be wanting me to avoid. So I think they're not here. They can't change, but they can help. They can guide. And even sometimes we might not listen to that guidance. That's free will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True.
But things really, the outcome always goes the way it's supposed to.
Then the flip side of that, that I hear, as far as like, they can't intervene, but they can do certain things, like you're saying, put somebody slow in front of you to slow you down for you to avoid something. We talk a lot about signs and them sending you signs as of which way you should go, whether that means literally geographically which way you should go or which way you should head in life, what choices you should make. I think being humans, we're not nearly, vibrating nearly at the level they are, so we tend to, a lot of those signs tend to go unseen by us. By our own ignorance or negligence, we just don't see them. Yeah. And then we kind of learn the hard way. However, it doesn't mean that they weren't always there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Agree. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Sunshine. We'll talk more about it, but that's my belief, really. I think my mother does some absolutely amazing things, and I'm sure the universe in general has a lot to do with it as well. But it also depends on what I do. And that I listen and go the direction I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
So, okay, so question number 2 is from Lindsay. She asked, how do you know when you are ready to adopt another pet after one has passed away? And you know what? I get asked this question a lot, and there's no right answer, right answer to this. It really depends on the person. I've done it several ways when it comes to this kind of thing. And when my chocolate lab Sierra died from hemangiosarcoma, it was like not getting any more animals, not going to happen because she died really suddenly, and it like breaks your heart and you don't want that again. But we got another dog 2 months later. It just came upon us, Sometimes these things just come up. So one of the ways that I tell people, they may not think that they're ready, but if they're presented with like the animal that needs to be adopted or whatever. Like for us, Zuma came to us before Sequoia passed away. And I think that was to help so that Sabbath wouldn't be alone when she did pass away. Yeah. So he was literally put in our path. Yeah. Like it's crazy the things that they will do.
Yeah.
So never second guess if something like that happens or you feel drawn to an animal, because a lot of times these are gifts from our animals that have passed away. There is also not a wrong time. A lot of people feel, and they talk to me about this, that they feel like they're going against their pet's wishes or they're replacing the guilt.
The guilt is the biggest one that gets in your way. I think instinctually, I feel like the moment you ask yourself, am I ready? Mm-hmm. That's when you're opening yourself to being ready.
Yeah.
You've mourned, and now you're ready to give that love because you are yourself made of love. Right. So you're going to give that to whatever pet you have.
Right.
It's the guilt that gets in your way.
Yes.
And there's a mourning, grieving period that's necessary too, but I think guilt can hold us at bay for a little bit longer.
Yep. I did a reading for somebody recently whose dog passed away, and on his way home from the animal hospital came across somebody giving away puppies.
Wow.
And he did take one. So it's never too soon.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And our animals on the other side are not sitting there going, don't do that. Don't get that dog or cat. They're telling us to do it because they want us to be happy and they want us to feel love. They're not upset on the other side or miserable or anything like that. So
that goes with people too.
Yes.
You know, that have lost spouses.
Yes.
That spouse is not sitting there thinking you should remain loyal and alone for the rest of your living, breathing life.
That's a good point,
They
actually.
want you to be happy and move on.
Even if in life they said, don't you dare get married when I pass away.
Right.
They don't feel that way.
Yeah, they don't.
No.
And moving on doesn't mean you're moving on and forgetting him. You're going to reunite when it's your turn to go. But for the living part of your experience, they want you to get the most out of it.
Absolutely. Yep. So hope that answers your question a little bit, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah. Okay, and then I do a reading every week. So let's do that. This is a psychic reading. I'm excited to do this one. When I saw it today, I was like, ooh, fun. It's from Jen. She said, my boyfriend Jordan and I, this is my boyfriend Jordan and I, and what's up and coming for us? Please and thank you. So Jen and Jordan. Here's Jen and Jordan.
Hello, friends.
So the reason that I got excited when I saw this and wanted to do it is because I feel very positive things. Like if it would have been a negative reading, I would have been like, oh crap. I would still do it anyways, but I wouldn't be as cheerful as I am. So no, there are some really cool things up and coming for you.
Nice.
I'm seeing a Christmas tree. And so something this Christmas, it could be a wedding, could be, I don't want to ruin anything, but it could be an engagement because I do see you guys getting married. So if he proposes on Christmas, you didn't hear it from the psychic on the radio.
No.
Can't
prove a thing. Oh, wait a minute. It's recorded.
Anyways, you guys are very cute together. One thing that is being pointed out to me is that no couple is ever perfect. So you're going to have those moments in your relationship where you're going to feel like, wow, we have some real differences here that might not, always help us to mesh well. But that's okay. It's those differences that help you to learn from each other. Because if you were exactly alike and your relationship was perfect and there was never any problems, how would you learn from each other? Right. So it's okay for the relationship to not be perfect at any time.
Right.
But, perfect to you is different. If as long as it feels good to you and you're happy, that's what's important. And I feel like you're both very happy. I feel like he's very settled in is the phrase that I'm hearing. He doesn't want to go anywhere or be with anybody else. Neither do you. But I feel like for you, you need to know this, that he's not going anywhere, because I feel like somewhere in your past you have some abandonment issues, and so this is something that you're always wondering, like, am I going to say something wrong that's going to make him leave or whatever, and that's not going to happen. So don't worry about that. So that's up and coming for you guys. I do see travel as well. Let's see. That Christmas tree that I'm seeing, that might not be at home. I have a feeling this is somewhere like a hotel or someplace, so that might have something to do with travel. But I'm also seeing something this summer that involves the ocean, and it's very blue ocean, so it could be Hawaii, could be Bahamas, Tahiti, I don't know, but it looks very pretty, so I hope you have a good time.
Nice.
So I hope that answers that, and if you have any more questions, let me know.
Very cool.
Yeah, so thanks, Jen and Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right, well, let's give our info before we move on to the episode.
Go for it.
All right, so you can find me at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. I have a radio show every Wednesday on VoiceAmerica.com on the Empowerment Channel, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Last week, I did an episode about questions, like the most frequently asked questions that I get about animals in general. And then this week, I'm going to do the past animals. So the most frequently asked questions, like, are they okay? Where did they go? Who are they with? All those questions I'm going to answer and take callers and all that. So
cool.
Have a listen to that as well. And then you, sir.
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I did just post one that I finished recently, Britney Spears, for my lovely wife.
Thank you. It was awesome. I love it.
Special request by her. So. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, I think that at first you were like, because he asked me, who do you want me to paint? And I said, Brittany. And he's like, is there anybody else? And I said, Sting. And he said, okay, Brittany, it is.
I'll take Sting. I'll take Brittany.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Nothing against Sting, but I was like, I can go with Brittany. I can figure something out.
yeah. No, it turned out very good. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Glad you like it.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yes.
All right. Episode 195. Earth is our school.
Earth is our school. So it's funny because I can't remember what happened first. I think I said to you, let's do the Earth is our school this week. And then you saw this from Dolores on Dolores Cannon page on Facebook.
Which was titled exactly that.
Yes. So I'm going to read this. And also Amanda Murray posted it on the reading group.
Oh, okay.
So, or not in the reading group, in the Philosophy Chatter group. So it was funny.
It was cool.
Yeah. So this is what it says. The Earth is a school. In our time on Earth, we are here to learn and grow. We need to realize we have made mistakes in order to move on and continue learning. We come to Earth to learn about emotions and limitations on this challenging planet. If you die on Earth and have not yet learned anything from your experience, then you will return to Earth in a new body to repeat the same lesson over again, just under slightly different circumstances. This is why, even though bad things may happen to us, as long as we have learned something from them, no matter how small, then we have still made significant progress when it comes to life's lessons.
Yep.
And that is perfect. That
Right.
is perfect. It's hard for us, I think, to grasp that. Like, so many people ask, well, if there was a God, why do bad things happen?
Right.
Well, bad things happen because that's a whole part of why we're here. That's a part of the school.
Yeah, not to sound abrasive, but it's meant to feel uncomfortable.
Yes,
We're meant to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this just in the books of Dolores that I've read, and I've seen some testimonies about life, near-death experiences. And this common thread that goes through these things is that feeling like somebody's got their arms around me and I'm totally okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be just fine, whether I survive or I don't. Somebody's comforting me. And often when these people take a trip to the other side, and sometimes they're in ICU and stuff like this, so they're kind of going back and forth to the other side and here while they're unconscious.
Right.
But their reports are always, besides being felt like you're being totally comforted and held, you're wrapped around immense love. Everything is love. That nothing is uncomfortable.
That's right.
So you can't be tested over there.
No.
You can learn over there, but I don't think you can be tested. This is the test.
This is the test, yeah.
It's like the fast track. If you wanted to stay in heaven and not incarnate, you can still learn, but you're never going to learn through experience. It would be like learning through textbook.
Right.
This is meant to be uncomfortable.
It is.
And hurtful and painful. But there is a glimpse of the other side that creeps into this life.
Yeah.
And that is the joyous, can't explain it, happiness, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what this is meant for. And the more that we stop fighting that,
Yep.
the easier the process gets, or we tend to understand it.
Yep.
And go with the flow, ride it more like an
Yes.
experience, like whitewater rafting or something.
That's important.
Every turn is a little different.
I used to take karate. I'm actually a green belt in karate.
Oh,
believe it or not. I
watch
know.
out.
Watch out. Ah, whoop-ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ow.
And
thought
you
you
know
were
what?
kidding.
I totally
No,
forgot
I'm
where I was going with this. I had a really good story too, and then I was like, "Oh, so what was the karate? Damn! Oh, it was a good one too. Maybe it'll come back."
Sensei said.
Yeah, I shouldn't get all. Oh wait, okay, I got it. I remember.
Got it.
Okay. So he was telling us that he was in a car accident, the sensei guy, whatever you call him, right? Can't remember what
master.
they're called. Yeah. He was telling us that he was in a car accident. And one of the things that he had learned in his training was that if something like that's going to happen, you're not supposed to brace yourself for impact by tensing up. You're
Right.
supposed
Go
to
with
relax.
it.
Exactly. Because when your body tenses up, it makes everything worse. And it's so that what you were saying about life, it's the same thing. When we go with it, when we don't try and restrict
Right.
ourselves and hold ourselves
Great
back.
analogy.
Absolutely, it goes along right with it. Yep.
Yeah, the more tense you go through life, the harder each little bump is going to feel like.
And you know what? We all have, well, not all of us, but a lot of us have this damage that tells us that we have to worry about things. That if I'm going with life, something bad's going to happen, or it's not going to go my way. But I think when we let that go, that's a part of the damage that the universe wants to see us let go of, as hard as it is.
Right. I'm never going to cheat death.
No.
You know, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, regardless. But the experience from point A to point B is what really is the focus.
Yes.
I shouldn't focus on that. And I don't really. I used to, but
Yeah.
I don't focus on the end so much. I'm more focused on like, what about the experience right now?
Yes.
Or in the next, you know, near future.
And that's what they want us to do.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what our higher selves want us to do too. Because believe it or not, this life is actually carefully designed. It's a carefully designed plan, a plan that we designed for ourselves.
Hence the contract.
Yes, exactly. When we reincarnated, we had this whole thing laid out down to what we were going to look like. I was talking to a listener today, actually, and she was telling me that she's always been really self-conscious of her teeth, and that's something that she's like tried to get over in this. And for me, it's my nose. I've always been self-conscious of my nose, but I got to the point where I realized I chose this nose. Right. I chose to be possibly ridiculed or whatever people were going to say, made fun of me, or it maybe there was something I did in a past life that meant I needed to be bullied for something, whatever. There's a reason. There's a reason why it's like this.
Yeah. So, I really relate to the teeth thing because I
told her that, yeah.
I grew up that way. I was born with diabetes insipidus, which is a rare disease where you're basically, it has nothing to do with insulin, but your kidneys don't retain fluid, so you can dehydrate quickly. There's like a hormone sent to the brain, from the brain to the kidney that says, hold this for a little while, filter it, you know. Mine doesn't do that. So I had to take a lot of medications, and that jacked my teeth up, but so did, you know, smoking for God knows how many years. And I thought, man, this sucks, you know, going through life like that. My uncle, my mom's brother, had it. The same disease, and his teeth were like 10 times worse than mine.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that's what I have to look forward to as I was little, knowing that I had the same thing as him, being told that I had the same thing as him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of essentially starting to happen. But by the grace of the universe and God, I had 12 all front teeth.
Yeah.
Crowned, and I'm happy, you know?
Yep, I think sometimes when we just get to the point where we accept that this is who we are and, you know, it is what it is, then it's okay for the universe to say you've learned something, because maybe you needed to learn something from your teeth being like that. I don't know. And then the universe was like, hey, you've learned it, so let's fix it for you so that you're not self-conscious about it or whatever.
Right.
You know, now my nose will never be any different than it is, and that's okay.
Right. But your mom had shared that, like when we were kind of working with her at one point, and you were kind of getting messages from her, and we had to switch insurances, and I was like,
yeah.
And she said, this is going to work out better than
better than old insurance
than you think it will. And damn, she was right, because like I said, I wouldn't have been able, you know, to do that financially. It would have taken me a long time.
Yep.
So
it was a blessing. Absolutely.
It was, and you know. But I had gotten to a point. I had gotten to a point where I accepted it, but I also got to a point where I was starting to change my life. Like, I wasn't smoking.
Yeah. Yep.
So I realized, okay, it's time to change it. So maybe I got a gift for being willing to make that change.
Yes, exactly. I think one of the most common questions that people ask is, why are we here? Like, what is the purpose of us being here? And we choose to come here so that we can have these experiences, so that our soul, it's really a school for our soul. It's not about this meat suit or, you know, even the brain. It's about what's in the brain. It's about the soul that's in there, and that we come here and we have these experiences in an education, like you said, that we can't get anywhere else. No. This is the only place. And Dolores Cannon also says that Earth is the toughest school.
Yeah, because there's other worlds to go to.
Absolutely.
There's many.
Yeah.
Other places where you can incarnate as a different being.
Yeah.
And assume a life on that plate, place for as long as it lasts. But according to what they say, yeah, this is the toughest one.
Yep. I think that it's really important for us to remember, too, that nothing happens by accident. Like I said, this is a plan. And the reason that that's so important is because we tend to feel victimized. And when we do that, it's like a disservice to ourselves, really, by being victimized like that, or allowing ourselves to feel that victimized.
Right.
Because that keeps us like stuck. And like in a cycle of repeating the same experiences over and over, because we're not seeing what's actually going on.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting childhood. I don't like to use the word rough because I feel like it wasn't as rough as a lot of people that I know. I've had
But
a
it was
lot
rough for
of
you.
Yeah. I had a lot of experiences, a lot of things that shouldn't have happened, and a lot of things that might have turned somebody cold or made them a lot of different ways. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be the victim. I never wanted to be the victim. I wanted to be the person that helped with my experiences. And I think that's a big part of what we're supposed to do is these things happen to us when we are kids or whatever in our lives to help us help other people, to help us in our growth experiences. The same woman that I was talking to about the teeth, she said, we have a lot of the same experiences. She said, I can't believe how much we have in common. And that's what the universe does. It brings me the people that have had the same kinds of experiences so that I'm able to relate to them and help them in a different way. Yeah. And if we could just look at everything that happens in our lives as something like that, not as being a victim, not as, oh my gosh, this happened to me, and if this wouldn't have happened to me. She mentioned it, the lady that I was talking about, and other people have mentioned it to me too, that the resilience that I had after finding out that my father wasn't really my father and that I have a whole father that I didn't know about, it doesn't make me a victim. It makes my story more interesting.
Right.
It shook things up, but it made the story what it was supposed to be. And that's really what this is.
I think you're right. It's like if we could remember that or remind ourselves in life's kind of toughest moments is we chose this.
Yes.
We chose this. And this is all for a reason.
Yes.
And it seems so real. But all the testimonies that I've read and things I've heard is like we get to the other side and we realize it really was just like a play.
Yes.
And we took it so seriously, like it was so real.
Yes.
But this is the dream part. So, and the school, but it's like we're learning while we're dreaming, essentially.
Yes. I like to compare our lives here to a movie or even to a video game a lot of times. But let's look at the movie, okay? Sure. These actors in movies, they don't suffer or take the events of the movie home with them because they're playing a part. They're playing a role. And it's very similar to us here. You're playing Danny Jones, I'm playing Samantha Jones. That's not who my soul is. That's just who I am in this life. And I try and guide my life as if it is a movie. What would I want the main character to do next? But at the end of the day, I realize that all of these experiences that I have when I go back to the other side, I'm just going to look at them as my movie from this life.
Yeah, it's kind of what made it not boring.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But here it feels traumatic.
It does, yeah.
But it would be boring.
Yeah.
If it was all sunshine and roses, first of all, nothing's learned.
Yeah.
And it's kind of boring.
Yeah. Absolutely it is. You had said before that this is guided by love. And really all of our life lessons are guided by love. We're here to not just love ourselves, but other people, the planet and animals. We're here to love all of it, nature. And the reason that we do this is to help us learn different types of things. So it could mean setting healthy boundaries, or, you're not a forgiving person and so you need to learn forgiveness. It's all guided by love. It's to teach us empathy, compassion, understanding, right. All of that, to not be judgmental or selfish.
Right.
All of it. This stuff is never here to hurt us or to make us, I don't know, dislike life or ourselves or other people. That's not what this is all about at all. And it's hard sometimes to see that, though.
Yeah.
You know? So I did a poll, like I do every week. Let me get it up here for you. I asked our listeners, in your opinion, are we here in this life to learn and grow? And 94% said yes. And 3% said I'm not sure. And 3% said no, we are here to suffer. I had to throw that one in there because I was curious to see if anybody was going to say that.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess it's how you look at it. Chelsea said, I am unsure if we could live and grow and not suffer. Well, I mean, I guess it really depends on how you look at the suffering part of things. Like what do you know?
Well, like, for instance, I think most of us have all had that first heartache. Mm-hmm. You know, we watched our daughter have to go through it.
Yeah, it's tough.
And that on some level is gnarly. Okay. It's like, I remember it that first time of like the rejection and, you know, then you feel like a spotlight's kind of on you. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And, but that's suffering on
it
some
is.
level. And then losing a loved one or a pet is suffering. If you've had something tragic, you know, happen to yourself, both physically or emotionally or mentally, I would have to agree with Chelsea on that one. I think that's a very accurate statement. That is part of the experience, again, because if it was always great and grandiose and all smiles, what are we learning about the other part of us?
Yes.
About compassion.
Yes.
It takes like suffering and pain to understand understanding and compassion.
Yes. I
And love.
agree.
But we are all love. We're just big balls of love inside, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is somehow we forgot that.
Yeah.
We forgot what our true nature is. Thank God we do guide ourselves from the other side and have help from the other side. It's just you have to connect to it. You have to find that plug and plug in.
Yep. One of the things that I started doing somewhere in my shadow work, but when I'm having a day that is just really bad, like Zuma hurt himself the other day. He was chasing a squirrel and tried to jump a 2-foot wall.
Didn't go well.
So, yeah, it was a bad day. Yeah. And the way that I handle it now is I go, it's just today. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be better. But this situation that I'm dealing with right now is not going to be my situation next week or next month. It's just what I'm dealing with right now. Yeah. And that has really helped me to deal better with situations because we get into this thing where we're like, oh, man, I'm dealing with this now. And for whatever reason, we forget. But this is just a temporary situation. This isn't that life is going to, always be like this. Right. We're going to have times that we're going to be really happy. And we're going to have times where we have these suffering type moments or whatever, whether they're physical, emotional, or whatnot. It's just how it goes with the whole thing, Hillary had put this under that poll. She said, I think the suffering is part of the lesson. If you haven't learned your lesson, you continue to suffer. Once you've learned your lesson, you can move on to the next one. No matter the situation, I always ask what the lessons to be learned here. It's so interesting that I can see someone else's lesson much clearer than my own. I find super encouraging to talk to my friends and work stuff out. Just the other day, I was talking to one of my friends about a situation, and then it hit me what my lesson is to be learned. Absolutely. That happens to me all the time where I'll be sitting there like trying to help somebody else, and it resonates with me, and I'm like, oh man, this is what you needed to hear for yourself.
Yeah.
It's wild how that happens.
Yeah. Usually the people that I get frustrated with.
Yeah.
There's something in them that I see in myself.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Once we begin to understand that the earth is just a school for the soul's expansion and growth, we can start to loosen our grip around our ego, really. Because that's what a lot of us are most concerned with, even though we might not realize it. It's our ego that gets in the way. It's how much money am I going to earn? How good do I look naked? Do people like me?
Am I right or wrong in this situation?
Yes, absolutely. It's really easy to get discouraged and defensive when people don't agree with us or we don't get what we want. We have to learn to be okay with everyone not liking us and things like our body not being perfect. Those are all things that came with the spiritual awakening for me too. I think that especially for women, when we're younger, we are kind of made to feel like all men want a certain type of woman. And so our bodies are supposed to look a certain way, and that's it.
Right.
And if you look any different, that a man is just settling for you. Then he doesn't really want, he's just settling. And that's not the case at all. And through the spiritual awakening and actually being with somebody that he likes the bigger girls, so it's nicer for me because
Yes,
I don't have to worry about it all that much. But it's made me realize that there is everybody likes something different. And so by trying to be somebody that you're not, by always trying to be a certain weight to impress the right person, you're impressing the wrong people.
Right.
Or you're not bringing in that right person to yourself by trying to attract things that maybe aren't you.
This hasn't always been this way either. You ever go to like a museum and see like, old world paintings?
Yeah.
I love to go to museums. There's Paul Getty museums around here that we've gone to a few times.
Yeah.
And they have similar paintings like this where, it's got the voluptuous woman laid out on the couch,
Yeah.
And this person was not 90 pounds.
No.
And that was considered very attractive and sexual.
Right.
Enough to paint a huge mural of it,
Yeah, I don't know where this idea came into our head. I mean, luckily it's like kind of seems to be going away more. There seems to be more and more full-figured women out there. And
you see the mannequins, like when you walk in stores now.
Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret, all of it. And that's really great. That helps to make it seem like this world is more inclusive instead of just being like, oh, the skinny, blonde, tall girls are going to get all of the guys and you're just going to get the leftovers.
Right.
It's like, why are we taught that? Really, what's the point of that? Also is like people get hooked on things like how much money they have. And in order to, impress people, they have to have a certain amount of money. Or for me, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter to me how much money a person has. They can have all the money in the world.
Yeah.
But if they're a jerk, you just ruin everything right there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah. So when it comes to money, what did you have to do to get there? Did you do it the right way, or did you lie, steal, cheat your way to get there? What do you do with your money? Do you give it? Do you help people with it, or are you a Scrooge? Those are the things that I think we should look at instead of, oh my gosh, this person has a lot of money. That's society and how we've been taught. Also, that it's okay to be wrong. Because somewhere, too, society has learned I can't be wrong.
No.
The other guy can be wrong, but not me. So even if I am wrong, I'm not going to take responsibility for it. And I'm going to blame somebody else for what I did wrong. And that's just doesn't make anything.
That's ego.
Yeah, that's ego.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. We're supposed to treat every single person that we meet the way that we would like to be treated. This doesn't mean allowing people to take advantage. It just means handling all we do with kindness. Because every day we encounter people like us, and you were saying this, we see the mirror in people. We see ourselves in them. The universe does this on purpose. When somebody triggers you, they're meant to trigger you because you're seeing something about yourself in them, and it's supposed to heal you. It's supposed to help you heal yourself, really. It's to teach ourselves.
And it does something to our ego, too, even at that moment, because we realize, wow, we kind of are all one. But no, wait a minute. I'm me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you start seeing that in other people, it looks like a reflection of yourself, and it gets you uptight and gets your ego all bruised.
Yeah.
Instead of going, but we are one.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to see those things in you because you're just like me.
Right.
We're all not exactly. I'm using this terminology loosely, but we all have, the 7 deadly sins. We all have the insecurities and the loneliness sometimes, and good times.
Right. One of the things that we really need to do in this school is we need to allow people to learn the way that they need to learn, to mind our business, to stop arguing with people over their beliefs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I really try and scroll by things if I don't, like them on the internet. I just scroll. But sometimes I do like to read the comments. Sometimes things go, oh boy, the comments are going to be good on this
Can't turn away.
It's like a train wreck. I'm going to sit here and read all 5,000 comments because it's hysterical. But really, like, people that argue on the internet about their beliefs, what are you doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing? I don't understand. We're all allowed to have our own beliefs and be our own person. And we're not supposed to push that on other people. We're
Right.
just think of yourself as this is my movie. And that person, they have their own movie and their own life. And they're allowed to do what they want to do. And this is one way to help this world run smoother. If we would just mind our own business.
Yes.
It would help things a lot. Stop pushing our beliefs on people. The Grammys were a few nights ago, and Madonna presented an award. And, we all do this. I guess I shouldn't say we all, but a lot of us do this where we go, oh my gosh, she's aged, or oh my gosh, look at the plastic surgery or whatever. But what we forget, and something that has been kind of in this process for me, I realize it more and more, is why am I judging that person? Maybe that's how she wants to look, because Madonna's always been like way over the top. So maybe that's what she wants to look like. Did maybe she get bad cosmetic surgery? Well, maybe,
Right.
but maybe it's exactly what she wanted. So why does it matter to me what she looks like? Why does it matter to me that she's, what is she, 60, something like that?
Probably, yeah.
Good for her.
Probably more towards 70. But
No, I don't think she's that old. I want to say it's like between 60 and 65. I can't remember. But anyways, she is running around, dancing, got all this energy.
Right.
Good for her. I wish I had that kind of energy at 45, because I don't. But instead of the good for her, it's the look what she's done to herself. Yeah. And we need to stop doing that.
I think it's tough. I think people you're kind of staring at yourself in a way.
Yep.
You're staring down your own mortality.
That's right.
Realizing that, okay, wow, if and I have said this in the past myself, like, wow, they have aged. And then all of a sudden that flood of thought comes in, like, okay, so the picture I'm thinking of them is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
This is what they look like now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it all becomes me. What's going to happen to me? What am I going to look like in 30 years? And again, it's that ego thing. It's this God complex that you realize you are not immortal. You will die. You cannot cheat death.
Yep.
And however you want to live it, whether it's on a plastic surgeon table or you don't mind having bags under your eyes and wrinkles, do it. People should just do what they want to do and mind your own business.
I don't know if it's the spiritual awakening or just the fact that I've gotten older, but I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. Like, I really am fine with who I am. And I wish that everybody felt that way, because if we all just accepted ourselves, like, for who we are, what this meat suit looks like, it would make life a lot easier. We are all going to age. We are all going to get old. And you can have as much plastic surgery as you want, but it's not going to change anything. So just do what you want to do.
Right.
Don't do it for other people.
Right.
Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like getting older. One thing that I like seeing that the other women are now pleasantly plump because they've had kids and they've gotten older, and women my age are going through menopause, and we're all like, we're all chunky monkeys now, and it's fabulous. Because so many of these women were so super skinny in high school, and I'm like, now they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I prefer it.
I know. Okay, so let's see what else I have for you. So we were talking about people that are arguing on the internet, right? So you're choosing to do this, just like you're choosing to watch the news and it gets you upset, or you pick up your phone and you scroll for hours, or you choose what music you listen to, what you engage with on the internet, all of that, what comments you write. It's all up to you. But we fail to understand is that all of these pastimes fall into two categories, either light or dark. Every day is an opportunity to be guided by the light or to succumb to the dark.
Yeah.
We choose which way we want our day to go.
Right.
Is it going to be a light day?
Right.
Or is it going to be a dark day? And, again, things happen. It's like what happened with Zuma.
Right.
But I didn't let it ruin my whole day. That part of my day was rough, but it's like life has to go on. And once we realize that, that helps us too, But if you really want to see a change in the world, then it's really time to change ourselves, really. We have to check our egos and stop looking for the darkness in everything. That seems to be human nature, that it's like, oh, here's something dark, or it's easier to be negative, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why, but it's
It's part of that lesson that's all wrapped into this is, are you going to go to the dark or are you going to go to the light?
That's right. Yep. The best we can do here on planet Earth is to be a good student. Spend time each day studying ourselves and our own behavior and integrating the light into our activities, thoughts, and feelings. And pay it forward, of course. We have to be honest with who we are and why things are the way that they are. Because if we're lying about who we are to ourselves, then we're never truly going to be honest with anybody.
Yeah.
Really have to have that, and that goes back to the shadow work and all of that.
Yeah.
Being the change that you want to see in the world is actually pretty simple. It just requires you to put down your phone and device long enough to see through your own programming. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's the path to your soul's growth.
No.
Take your time, develop it all and spend time with yourself and not just stuck in some social media universe. And I'm not preaching,
Right.
because I'm just as bad as anybody else, that I get trapped in the whole social media thing. And but working on yourself is very
Yeah.
I don't know, it's challenging, but it's very helpful to other people as well, not just to you.
Yeah. I agree.
I had asked the listeners in the group if they had stories that they wanted to share about how the earth was a school to them. And my sister Amanda, she wrote up a story that she wanted me to share.
Cool. Let's hear it.
Okay, she said, on June 3rd, 2020, the universe not just slapped but punched me into reality. On that day, I was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver and ascites. Shortly after, I was told that I had 6 months to live. I had a terrible drinking problem. What started as drinking on the weekends turned into evenings and weekends. And when COVID hit, I lost both my jobs. I was at home all day teaching my kids and started drinking from morning till night. I had been sick for months and told multiple doctors about my drinking problem. I had every scope, CT scan, ultrasound, blood test, MRI, everything. Apparently, my liver seemed fine until this day. My stomach literally bloated overnight, and at my first draining, they removed 23 liters of fluid from my abdomen.
Wow.
I had been praying for months for help to stop drinking before this happened. I couldn't do it, not alone. I needed help, and due to childhood issues, refused to go to AA. I begged for help or death. On June 3rd, I got the only help the universe could give me: drink or live. If I ever took another drink, I would never have stopped. I'd be dead. My children and my husband would be alone. That day, I stopped drinking. Neither doctors or I at the time understood how I quit cold turkey with no detox symptoms. Not a single shake, vomit, headache, nothing. I know now that the universe helped me float past that, almost as a reward for my sobriety. I also know now that the universe brought it to me in the absolute only way that I would have understood. 95% of people with my diagnosis continue to drink and don't make it past that 6-month mark. I beat the odds. I did it because the universe gave me one last opportunity and I took it. My liver is now almost 100% normal, and I no longer have a life expectancy. I will never take another drink in my life.
Wow.
And that is a universal promise. Whew, that was hard
Yeah.
to get through, Amanda. Damn.
It's incredible. You should be proud.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because I went and got my hair, not funny, but I went and got my hair cut this morning, and my hairdresser, she told me that her best friend's daughter was dying from cirrhosis for the same thing. But she didn't give up the drinking. She drank until she had to be hospitalized. And she was like totally yellow, just pure yellow. 2 kids, 20 and 22. But only thinking about herself.
Yeah.
Only thinking about, I can't stop drinking, so I'm just going to go ahead and die.
Right.
And so I applaud Amanda for the steps that she took, because especially with the history of alcoholism in the family, that has to be really, really hard to do, for sure. So thank you for sharing that story. Yeah. And actually, Amanda was on my radio show, I think it was the 2nd episode, and she talked about this a lot. So if you haven't heard her story, she really gets into it there. So yeah, it's an interesting story.
I was thinking about something else in regards to this. It's kind of I'm going to take it off tangent here, or on a different tangent for a second. And that is, that we're talking about the earth being our school, obviously. And the earth is as organic and alive as you and I.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you whether the earth has feelings or anything, but I know that it's alive.
Yeah.
And well at this point. Mm-hmm. And over the last week or so, there's been some things that are happening globally that are probably have a lot of people scared.
Yeah, for sure.
Making people wonder whether this earth will still be around as a school for other souls, and all of us to continue to come here to learn.
Yeah.
I would say in my own personal beliefs, yes, the earth is not going anywhere. I don't think that mankind is going to wipe itself out.
No.
But I'm not saying I don't think there will be wars and things to bring a lot of loss of life and destruction. That's very possible.
Yeah.
My point being is, when we're talking in this topic about the lessons here and it being our school, and whether we want to choose the dark or the light, is that all of this temperament or climate, social climate on this planet is us. It's not the earth. It's us. Mm-hmm. So we have created this paranoia and fear amongst ourselves that we can eliminate, but we have to do it collectively.
Yes, exactly.
We have to choose collectively.
That's right.
To do it.
Yeah.
Kind of an analogy that Samantha and I have been talking about last couple days or whatever was blinkers in cars. Okay, every car is made with blinkers. This isn't like a privilege or a right per se of like, you don't need to know where I'm turning or where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
No.
It's about giving courtesy to the people around you.
Yes.
Where you are headed, to avoid collision, to avoid problem and conflict. It's just giving a friendly wave in a sense. It's kind of the same idea. Why are these all made this way, yet very few of us choose to use them? Mm-hmm. I want to use this as an analogy of the dark and the light, because the light is here to help. Mm-hmm. The dark only confuses.
That's right.
And so as we're hearing these things on the news and things being shot down to the sky and what's going to happen next, think about it. And when you talk to your friends, talk about it. Talk about how we can consciously change this way.
Right.
It's happening. When you see certain countries and worlds deciding we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
There's enough room here to share.
Right.
This, it's a fine line, because I do believe this is a simulation.
Yeah.
And I don't believe it's like we can destroy something that's not here.
Right.
But at the same time, do we all really want to live through this part of that simulation.
Right.
And we can avoid this, but it has to be done consciously.
Yes. Yes. While you were saying that, I was hearing a few things, and one of them is to turn off the news. You have no idea, none of us do. I know I really don't even know myself how much they lie to us.
Yeah.
So what do they lie to us about? How much of it is a lie? A lot of it. I really feel like a lot of it is to keep us trapped in fear. They have, I'm not saying that Putin is a good guy, but we don't know a lot of things, and he doesn't know a lot of things. There's a lot of, his country knows nothing, and we know some lies. And I'm bringing this up because I've been getting asked about this by people, like, what's going to happen? And I don't know. Like, honestly, I try and keep myself out of these things psychically.
Right.
But I feel like it's going to be okay, and that we're not supposed to let it get to us in the way that it affects our lives on a daily basis. And that's a part of the lesson is, are you going to believe what you hear on the TV?
Right.
Are you going to let it affect the way that you treat other people and the way that you run your life? Because, I grew up here in Southern California, and my entire childhood, I heard California was going to have a gigantic earthquake and break off into the ocean. And then I heard that in 2000, we were going to all die. It was going to be over. It was, Armageddon, apocalypse, whatever.
Yeah, because somebody didn't program the computer right.
Right. So I honestly, as a child, based my life off of these things.
Yeah.
And why? Yeah. I remember hearing all the time on the news that Nostradamus predicted an earthquake in California tomorrow, and I would be under my desk.
Yeah.
Why do we do this? Just don't believe everything that you hear. Just don't.
Right.
It's not being ignorant. It's just that this is our lives.
Right.
If I'm going on with my day and I don't know what's going on in the world and they drop a bomb, I don't know anything about it. I've lived my life until it's done. I haven't sat there and worried about it until it happens, because most of the times these things don't happen anyways. So I think a part of the lesson here in this is to not allow them to control us and to keep us in fear. And if we each individually can do that, then we're stronger than they are, and we win.
It is. It's a global vibration.
Yeah.
Because we are one. We think we're all separate in our own homes and rooms and jobs and worlds and countries and blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's all one.
Yeah.
And this consciousness has to tilt the scale back the other way. Yeah. I also believe that there are other civilizations off this planet that are watching, that are very aware. I mean, we're hearing all the time now that it's like, it's not once a month or every couple years of some sighting or report. It's every day, almost, somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there are sort of custodians that are watching out. They don't want to see God's work just blown to smithereens.
And that might be what's happening here. Yeah. That might be what these are. Yeah,
and I mean, unfortunately, is that a great time to introduce yourself in the middle of a third world war? No, it would cause more panic and, scare probably a lot of people. But again, what are you being told about these things?
Right.
And what do we really know? I mean, why are they really here? My belief is, they don't want to see this be extinguished.
No, they don't. I definitely feel like they are here, like you said, as custodians for sure. Yeah, and that they'll help us.
I think that they will referee at some point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we won't have to suffer through things because of it.
Right.
Before that.
Yeah, a big part of this school is learning how to work together and learning how to respect each other. And a lot of times I think when we're forced to do things or, in these situations, it makes us think differently. It's like with COVID, people were thinking very selfishly. And it's not about you. It's about the collective. And we're not supposed to go, I'm not going to get the vaccine because blah, blah, blah. Or I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to not wear a mask, or I'm, whatever, because that's how I feel. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to be in this for each other. I wore a mask and got vaccinated, not just for myself and my family, but to protect other people, not to be selfish. And the universe wants us to do that. They want us to work together, whatever that means. And that's a big part of the lesson here. And a lot of people never see that. They are always resisting, always fighting against what is right.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yep.
ain't getting anywhere that way. So, anyways,
It's our school. We have to take care of it.
it is.
And
Yeah, we
take care
really
of each
do.
other. It's
Yep.
it's sad to think of a world that's contaminated and destroyed just to enter in new souls to live a life of sickness and hate and war. So, and only us can change this.
Yep. I chose to not have kids for a lot of reasons, but that was one of them, is that I really didn't want to bring a child into this world to have to deal with all of this junk.
Right.
But that's not. We all need to come in here and, experience it the way we're supposed to.
Or if there was something like, stated in biblical times, something like a great flood, if it could happen once, why couldn't it happen again?
Right.
If God was like, you guys are just blowing it.
Yeah.
Okay? You're just blowing it.
Yeah.
I got to clean the slate here.
Yeah.
How do we know that's not going to happen? I mean,
No,
I
we
don't really
don't.
think that's going to happen.
No.
But we could entertain that idea and go, there's a lot of things that could intervene what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what we're doing to each other and our school.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we're not the most powerful things in this universe, that's for sure.
Oh, no, we definitely aren't. No, I think we want to believe that we are. But maybe that's a part of it, too. Maybe we need to be humbled,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice that in times of especially natural disasters, the way
Yeah.
people really embrace one another and reach out, and that seems to last for a little bit, and then it fizzles. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody's looking out for each other anymore. It just goes back to me.
Yeah, if you live in the United States and you remember September 12th, the day that the country united together after the terrorist attacks.
You're talking about 9/11.
9/11, but the
Right,
day after, we were all one.
Yeah.
We were people were, everybody was so happy to love each other. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing, but it was nice. I wish that it could be like that more often.
It can be.
It could be, but but we went back to the way it was before. We forgot about 9/12. We call it. Yeah, for sure. So anyways,
Very cool.
there we go. So
Very good.
yeah.
Well, before we say goodbye to everybody, you want to share your information one more time?
Yes, so you can find me at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. Don't forget about my radio show, Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, at Voice America on the Empowerment Channel, Beyond the Bridge.
Yeah.
And you, sir?
For my art, one more time, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yay.
And that's it for me.
Fabulous.
Well, we hope you guys got something out of this. It's always a learning lesson.
Yes, that's what
There's
we're here for.
something to be learned.
Every single day.
Yes.
We're supposed to learn.
And we hope everybody has a great week.
That we do.
Until next week.
Peace and love.